No one in Hollywood saw it coming. The industry was drifting through another routine awards season when, without warning, the trades released a headline that detonated worldwide: Sam, Heughan and Caitríona Balfe to lead massive 2026 comeback project. Within minutes, social media completely unraveled. Fans who had long mourned the end of Outlander struggled to process what they were seeing. Sam and Caitríona together again, this time stepping onto the largest stage Hollywood had offered them in years. The announcement arrived simultaneously from 3 major studios, sending an unmistakable signal. This wasn't a rumor, a tease, or a calculated leak. It was real. Even more shocking than the reunion itself was the revelation that the project had been secretly in development for nearly a year. Critics who once assumed Sam and Caitríona's paths would permanently diverge suddenly had to rewrite their forecasts. This wasn't simply a return. It was a takeover. In the official press release, the studios described the film as an international epic designed to redefine the 2026 box office landscape. Plot details were locked behind strict confidentiality, but insiders whispered about a bold fusion of romance, mystery, and high-stakes adventure, a genre blend Hollywood had been desperately missing for years. The industry needed something fearless, one executive admitted, and these two were the only ones who could carry it. For fans, the nostalgia hit instantly. Twitter flooded with old clips of Jamie and Claire, emotional edits, tribute threads, and stunned reaction videos. The hashtags #Sam Caitríona 2026 and #Hollywood Comeback surged to the top of global trends within an hour. Even fellow celebrities joined in, expressing disbelief and excitement. The world hadn't witnessed fandom energy this explosive since the early rise of streaming giants. But behind the scenes, the true story was even more extraordinary. After Outlander wrapped, both Sam and Caitríona had deliberately stepped back from blockbuster roles, choosing smaller, more personal projects instead. Many assumed their careers would permanently diverge. Some predicted Caitríona would stay rooted in auteur-driven films, while Sam might pivot toward action franchises or romantic comedies. What no one knew was that Hollywood had quietly been plotting their reunion all along. Multiple insiders pointed to a decisive moment in 2025. A major director, whose identity remains undisclosed, flew to London with a script in hand and delivered one unshakable demand: the film could only exist with Sam and Caitríona together. They have a connection actors spent their entire lives trying to create, he reportedly said. They were simply born with it. Sam initially laughed, convinced the pitch was hyperbole. Caitríona assumed it was a prank. But once they read the script, both were stunned. The story demanded emotional precision, maturity, and the kind of chemistry that feels earned, lived in, and unforced, qualities they had already proven time and again. Hollywood didn't just want them back, it needed them. As the news spread, fan forums ignited with debate. Many celebrated the reunion, eager to see their favorite duo share the screen again. Others worried the world would never see Sam and Caitríona as anything other than Jamie and Claire. Would the film be unfairly compared to Outlander? Would the past overshadow everything that followed? The discussion grew so intense that entertainment journalists began publishing full-length think pieces dissecting the risks. Then came the twist no one expected. An anonymous source revealed the film had nearly been cancelled. Just months into pre-production, internal restructuring and fears over financial risk caused the studio to pull funding. Scripts were shelved. Deals stalled. The 2026 headline almost vanished before it ever existed. That's when Sam and Caitríona intervened. They personally reached out to producers, stood shoulder to shoulder with the creative team, and refused to let the project disappear. Their commitment stunned studio executives. This wasn't about reuniting for nostalgia's sake. It was about believing in a story strong enough to revive an entire genre. Their passion reignited negotiations, and within weeks the project was greenlit again, this time with a significantly larger budget. By the time the public learned the truth, the machine was already in motion. Sam began intense physical training for a demanding new role. Caitríona immersed herself in workshops for emotionally punishing scenes. Both were preparing not just for a comeback, but for transformation. Hollywood finally understood this wasn't nostalgia, it was evolution. What no one knew, not fans, not the press, was why they had fought so fiercely for this film. And when that truth finally emerged, it reframed everything the world thought it knew. The revelation didn't come via press release or studio statement. It arrived through a quiet, unexpected interview, the first time Sam and Caitríona appeared together since the announcement. Seated side by side, calm but visibly emotional, they carried a gravity that reached far beyond promotion. Sensing the moment, the interviewer leaned in. "Why this project? Why now?" Sam glanced at Caitríona before answering. "Because we weren't finished telling stories together." It wasn't about recreating Outlander or chasing past success. It was about growth, about stepping into roles that reflected everything they'd learned over a decade on screen. Caitríona added, "This script felt like a mirror. One we couldn't ignore." Their honesty struck a chord worldwide. What fans didn't know was that both actors had quietly struggled after Outlander ended, not from lack of offers, but from lack of meaning. "When you play characters that truly change people," Caitríona explained, "choosing what comes next becomes terrifying." Sam admitted he had turned down major roles for that reason alone. "I didn't want noise," he said. "I wanted something that mattered." Then came the revelation that stunned the fandom. Their decision wasn't driven by fame, money, or nostalgia. It came from a promise made years earlier. During season 5, after an exhausting night shoot in the Highlands, they sat on a hill watching the sunrise, talking about fear, the future, and life after Outlander. In that quiet moment, they promised each other that if the right project ever appeared, one that honored their growth, they would return together. "That script," Caitríona said softly, "was that promise calling us back." The director had unknowingly written something only the two of them could fully understand. It wasn't just a film. It was closure, rebirth, and destiny intertwined. As the story spread, the comeback finally made emotional sense to fans everywhere. The journey wasn't easy. Studio executives initially feared audiences would only see Jamie and Claire. Some even pushed to separate him to avoid comparison. "We refused," Sam said firmly. "We're not afraid of our history." Caitríona admitted the doubt hurt. "It felt like they wanted to erase what we built." Instead of walking away, they doubled down. Additional rehearsals, chemistry tests, and intensive workshops to prove they had evolved. Their persistence paid off at a private test screening in early 2026. When the film began, the room fell silent. These weren't echoes of old roles. The performances were raw, modern, layered, and electric. By the final scene, executives were wiping away tears. One critic whispered, "This isn't a comeback. It's history." The response changed everything. The film was elevated to tentpole status, global distribution expanded, and festival invitations poured in overnight. Hollywood had no choice but to admit what fans had always known: Sam and Caitríona weren't just actors. They were a phenomenon. As the interview closed, the emotional truth surfaced. Sam confessed he hadn't felt truly inspired since Outlander ended. Caitríona revealed she had nearly left Hollywood after a devastating personal year, but found hope again through the script and through Sam's unwavering support. "He pulled me back," she said quietly. Sam met her gaze. "We lift each other." In that moment, the world finally understood. This wasn't strategy. It wasn't fan service. It wasn't a calculated move. It was two artists choosing each other again, not as Jamie and Claire, but as Sam and Caitríona. And with one final sentence, they sent a shiver across every headline and timeline. This comeback wasn't planned. It was destiny.